Friend and the two other adventurers, Victor and Bart, wonder what's happening to them. Fran is terrified and scared as she doesn't know what to do. She knows quite well that she can't use magic or any skills with Teacher. And now that she doesn't have a weapon, she can be defeated. The other two adventurers also wonder where they are. They scream Crad's name and the names of the other adventurers in their team, but no one comes to their rescue. Within a split second, they realize that they are on their own. The huge spider comes in front of them. She laughs at them as they also detect her aura and figure she's much stronger than any of them. She activates a part of the dungeon, and about 5 arrows stab Victor. The others scream his name and they figure out there are traps in the dungeon. At about the same time, different woods and arrows attempt to stab them. They all run around the dungeon, trying to avoid the spikes of the wood and hoping that they won't die. On the other hand, by the other side of the dungeon, the others wonder what could have made them teleport suddenly without an instrument. Amanda says that there is only one spider in that dungeon that could do that, so it could only be the work of a spider that has evolved to the trickster level. They wonder if a spider can evolve that quickly. Suddenly, even if it's an evolved spider, how could it evolve that suddenly? One of them comments that it may be the work of another person, but the others shut him up, saying that he shouldn't get them scared. They remember that the captives do not have their weapons and will be in danger. So, they are determined to find them as soon as possible and save them. They split themselves into 3 groups, 2 of them which are 2 teams of adventurers, and Amanda works solo. Amanda picks Teacher, and she determines to find Fran. Teacher, on the other hand, is concerned about Fran. He promises to find her and save her, although he knows that the promise seems impossible as he can't think of anything to do. The adventurers decide to move to another part of the dungeon, and they start their search. After searching about 2 parts of the dungeon, they still couldn't find Rue captives. As Amanda comes to a wall, she uses her magic wind and noise to collect magic to search the entire area. Getting the noise and the voices of people within the walls to find out if Fran is there, she says that there are several spiders in the dungeon, so she finds it difficult to pinpoint the voice of the trickster spider. She also can't hear the voice of Fran. Teacher watches Amanda as she uses this skill. He comments that the skill is useful and will surely come in handy. He also says that he used his telepathy skills to find a way to communicate with Fran, but all his efforts are abortive. One of the adventurers reminds them about a situation where people teleported into the wall, so some of them hit the wall hoping that the captives will come out. Meanwhile, Fran and the other captives try to avoid the traps while jumping around from the woods. Fran steps on a trap that activates a part of the floor which hits her. She crumbles on the floor as the spider looks at her and laughs. Teacher is, however, determined to save Fran. He thinks of any of his skills that can be used to find her. Teacher thinks of what he can do. He wonders if all of his lifetime of gathering skills and magic by fighting all the dungeons can provide something to save his dear friend. And he decides to check through all of his skills. Meanwhile, Fran is tired and exhausted from running in every part of the room. That she runs to activates another terrible trap. She screams at herself and asks herself why she's too useless to do anything or fight for herself. Teacher continues thinking about what to do while Amanda also keeps up with using her noise control to find the place Fran and the others are. While Teacher keeps looking at his skills, he contemplates if he should use the parallel skills. But he changes his mind and keeps checking. He eventually finds the can summon skills. He remembers that the skill they took from the beetle leader in their former dungeon, and assumes he can summon kin that may help him find Fran. He wants to summon, but he thinks that if he does any summoning in that room, Amanda will notice, and he doesn't want to put Fran in the situation of explaining what has happened to Amanda. However, he changes his mindset and says the most important thing to him at that moment is finding Fran, and Amanda doesn't matter. He speaks to his announcer and asks which animal can be summoned immediately. His announcer replies that he has a beast wolf, and she also mentions several types of wolves. The list gets exhausting, and he doesn't know which of them he should pick. So he asks his announcer which of the wolves can find Fran in the dungeon. His announcer tells him that the Onyx Wolf will do a great job. Within the twinkle of an eye, teacher summons the Onyx Wolf. As the summoning starts, the bright ray of light attracts Amanda. She turns toward the light and sees the summoning is happening. She wonders who in the dungeon summoned Kin, and as she thinks about it, the summoned wolf comes out. She recognizes that it's an Onyx Wolf, and she watches as the wolf sets out to attack. In a direction, teacher on the other hand speaks to the wolf and asks the wolf to search the dungeon and find Fran. However, the wolf refuses to hear his voice. Instead, the wolf keeps sending explosives towards teacher. Amanda notices that the wolf isn't attacking her. Instead, the wolf is attacking another part of the dungeon. And she also notices the wolf doesn't belong to the dungeon. She decides that even if the wolf belongs to the dungeon or not, she has the responsibility to defeat it. She sets out to fight the wolf, and teacher speaks to her with telepathy. He tells her that he is the one who summoned the wolf, and she should please not attack him. She asks him who he is, and she notices he is using telepathic powers. He says he can't explain to her who he is at that moment, but he is Fran's companion, and he is worried about Fran. Which is why he has summoned the wolf to find Fran. She tells him that although she doesn't know him, she believes him. So she allows the wolf to do its work. However, instead of going to Fran as teacher has ordered, the wolf keeps attacking teacher. Amanda tells teacher that the wolf has gone berserk. She explains that he is being overpowered due to the powers and the mana used by the summoner in summoning it. And he is feeling so much pain that his heart is about to burst. He feels like the summoner has purposefully summoned him to make him feel pain, and animals in such situations tend to attack their summoners in revenge. Which explains why the wolf keeps attacking teacher. Amanda tells teacher that the best way to pacify the wolf is to give the wolf a name if the wolf doesn't have one. Teacher asks his announcer if what Amanda has said is true, and his announcer says there is a 95% probability that the wolf will get calm if he gives the wolf a name. Teacher is left in the dilemma thinking about the best name for the wolf. He says he is in conflict, and he doesn't know what name he should give him. But since the wolf is here to help him find Fran, he will name him Urushi the Darkness Wolf. So as the wolf jumps toward teacher to attack him again, teacher screams the name Urushi immediately. He calls the name, the wolf stops, takes the mana from teacher's body, and becomes a good familiar. He acquires the same skills as teacher, and teacher is amazed as regards to how great naming a thing could be. He tells Urushi that it should smell him and take the scent of Fran so they can find Fran. Urushi does as his master has commanded. He carries teacher in his mouth and runs. Amanda asks why they're leaving her, and teacher tells her to run after them. Meanwhile, Fran is the only captive still surviving. The spider unleashes a trap that scratches her cheek. She gets poisoned and collapses. She cries and says that's the same way that she was weak before she met teacher. And she can't do anything without teacher. As she is about to give up, she imagines teacher and what he would tell her. He tells her she can't give up at that point and that she is strong. The tiny spiders crawl toward Bart and Victor and overwhelm them. Fran regains her powers while thinking about teacher, and she goes to meet Bart and Victor. She helps them send away the spiders. They wonder why she is that strong despite being poisoned. And she goes to fight the trickster spider so she can distract her. Eventually, Urushi gets to a wall that he thinks links to where Fran is. Amanda uses her wind skills to break the wall, and they find out spider webs have been used to close down the road. And they will get trapped if they pass through it. Teacher says he could do it. He thinks of the skill to use in that situation. And he eventually decides to burn it. He acknowledges that he may lose all of his powers if he does so. On the other hand, Fran prepares to hit the spider although she knows she is too weak to destroy it. As she jumps, teacher's fire burns the spider. Teacher goes to meet Fran, and she embraces him. He says he should heal her, but she thinks that they should fight the spider first. Teacher heals her, and she hugs him despite the fact that his body is hot. He tells her she is his strongest student, and he's very proud of her for holding on until that time and fighting despite being weak. Amanda arrives, and she jumps at Fran tearfully and says Mama is happy. Fran tells her she isn't her mother but embraces her after the greetings. Amanda asks Fran who the sword is and says she wants to know. She figures her question may be discomforting, so she says she knows it's wrong to ask about another adventurer's weapon and magic. And she knows the secret can only be said to someone she trusts. Fran replies that she trusts Amanda. And Fran tells Teacher that she wants to tell Amanda their secret. Although Teacher is glad that Fran has found a human she can trust, he gets jealous of Fran and Amanda but allows Fran to tell Amanda the secret. Fran tells Amanda the secret, and Amanda is so excited to meet Teacher. They eventually go to meet Victor and Bart. Amanda asks them what they last remember to know if they had heard the secret Fran told her. But they didn't hear, so she leaves them. Teacher also introduces Uroshi to Fran. They leave to join the other adventurers on the 6th floor. But when they get there, they can't find anyone. Teacher wonders if the other adventurers could have been hurt, so he says that they will send Uroshi to find them. At that moment, the female spider screams. They all hear the voice, and they see a light from the wall. They watch as another creature, a spirit,